Hey, Woody, have you kind of figured out a plan now, like 3 weeks left in the season, for how you're going to divvy up playing time?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. I don't think it's like I don't have it planned out to the day, but we're definitely going to see these younger guys play. I think that's the biggest crystal clear. Like we're going to see these. I want to see these guys. Obviously, I got Tejeda playing today. I want to see what how they handle the at bats, and I've had talks with a number of our younger guys, and just we got to get a lot out of these 20 games or 23 games now remaining. I think it's really important for us as a staff, for them as players, to create a little bit of the identity of what we're going to be as we move forward, especially with the younger group.
So what does that do? Like, so then how do you evaluate, the older guys?
I think a lot of, they've had obviously a lot of opportunities in their careers. So, they're we kind of know what to expect. I kind of know what to expect from them. The younger guys, obviously we want to see what they got. And, as we move into next year, we want to know where we stand kind of, especially, like I said, the older guys are a little more predictable. They have a track record. The younger guys don't. So we're trying to get as much experience. And I'm not going to evaluate them in 20 games, or if they play 15 of those games or 10 of those games, it's not going to do or die. I just want to see their mentality and how they handle, the day-to-day preparation, and how they handle their bats. Same thing with my pitching side. Same goes for them.
Where does Joey fit into that mix?
Joey, I think, is, he's obviously, in my opinion, one of the guys who has kind of deserved the everyday. He's obviously hit lefties in the past. He's struggling this year. I get it. But his talent and his, preparation, his work, the way he competes, all check the boxes for me, honestly. I'd like to see him have more success this year, just for his own personal sake, like to know that, this isn't going to spiral and create some sort of like disbelief in his mind that he can do what he did last year. So I'm kind of looking up to the baseball guys to kind of get him going for the last 20 games to just finish on a good note.
Thanks, Woody.
Questions, please. Evan.
So in terms of these younger guys and older guys, what exactly who does this impact most? Like, which guys are you talking about not playing?
I don't think it's about not playing. I just think it's just maybe not on an everyday basis. I just think it's we got to get these guys in games. And the only way we can do that is by either not playing somebody else to fill that spot. So I don't want to get into specifics. You guys will obviously see as we go. Lineups will be a little bit different, and if guys have good games, I'd like to give them another opportunity. And there's just going to be a lot of conversations, a lot of learning as we see these guys kind of prepared through every day. We had a really good hitters meeting today. I love what we talked about, how we're going to beat this guy, and now we got to go out and execute it. And we see these younger guys, can they go out and execute the game plan? I think is my biggest question. And if we can see that on a consistent basis, then we have something to kind of, okay, we can hang our hat on the fact that we can trust that he can actually contribute to us winning games, especially as we move into next year.
So Emily asked about Joey, and the other veteran who is sitting today is Elvis. He's been back in the lineup just 4 days. I know the back was an issue earlier. Looked like there was a ball he really couldn't get down on last night, a ground ball that got through. Is his back bothering him? Or what's the reason on that one?
Yeah, I think it is. Honestly, I do think it is bothering him. He obviously, it was a play that you would expect a shortstop to make, especially at this level. He didn't really say much about it after, but I kind of had a feeling, obviously we can all kind of see if there is some lower back issues there. But anyways, he's, he hasn't really, performed to the level that we would expect or he would expect. And like I said, I want to see Tejeda play. I want to see Kiner maybe play at times at shortstop and just see what we have as we move forward.
So does that mean that those two guys will split up the majority, that Kiner and Tejeda will, in your mind, split up the majority of the playing time there?
I don't know. I think, probably Kiner will probably stay at third base for the most part. just because you have Tejeda and Elvis can play shortstop. So Kiner will go there because I like to see it still. I thought he did a really good job for the games that he did play shortstop on a daily basis. But in my mind, I feel like, he can handle it. Tejeda is the one that we need to see where we stand and see where he's at with regard to shortstop.
All right, last thing for me on White has not had success in terms of numbers since you put him out there, but it looks like the exit velocities are pretty good. With these young guys who are starting to get at bats, like Leote and Eli, Tejeda tonight, what's your concern about whether or not they have results up here?
I think for their own personal, for their own personal success, obviously we want to see them, we preach a lot of things outside of results, more process stuff, but at the same time, we know we preach those things to produce results. So it's for their own, mental health, obviously I don't want to see this kid hit the ball hard every time and go over his first 20. Last night he had 3 quality bats. He had the 3 best at bats of the game, but he was over 2 and he ended up walking his last at bat, but he had our 3 best at bats. I know Trevino hit a homer, but he was our best hitter last night, even though he didn't get a hit. So, those are things that obviously I share with those guys, on a pitch, on a day, at bat by at bat, but also a game by game. They're going to know when they have good games and they have quality at bats. That's what we're looking for. And I don't think Eli's handling it pretty well. He just comes back and he's kind of wow, it's really hard to get a hit in the big leagues, I guess. You know what I mean? Because he's hit the ball hard, so many times and gotten out. And he's just man, I feel like there's 15 guys out there every time I hit. And we kind of make a joke about it, but at the same time, I do want for his personal health, to get some quality results. And, maybe it's a jam shot blooper, or maybe it's a homer, catch that one. You know what I mean? That's kind of the mentality. But he's in a good place.
Okay. Thanks, Woody.
TR? You're muted.
Sorry, it's tricky how these things work. Gibson and Lyle, you got some young pitchers down in alternate camp sitting on the on-ramp waiting to come up here and pitch for you if you so choose. But Gibson and Lyles, I know they're older guys, but they're also signed for next year. And how important is it for Gibson and Lyles to keep on pitching, or is it more important to maybe let their spot go to some young guys?
No, I think it's important that they pitch. I think, they are on our team next year, and we need to get production out of them. They're a big part of, us winning. So, they need to continue to pitch the rest of the year. Listen, they've only pitched this is going to be 2 months. So if we were to kind of take off, not let them pitch and give it to somebody else, I mean, that's a lot of innings. We need to get as many innings on those guys as possible, especially as we move into a hopefully more normal season next year where we have 162 games. We need Gibson and Lyles to be good for us. We depend on those guys. The younger guys, obviously, we won't want to see them as well, but we need those guys to be good if we're going to, have a chance to contend.
Okay, you got a lot of guys on the IL, veteran guys. Are you guys pretty much just said, hey, guys, we're not going to rush you back. We'll see you next year. Have you pretty much just told those guys, hey, it's not going to happen this year?
Certain guys, I think,
I'm referring to Santana, Kluber, Leclerc, and Calhoun.
Yeah, I think Calhoun will be back. The other 3 won't be, though. I can pretty much guarantee that. Kluber and Leclerc will not make it back. They both, they're a little bit slow in their progress. And we just decided at this point to rush them back. They would be behind probably anyways. They probably wouldn't make it back even in a best case scenario. So we kind of shut them down as far as trying to get them. So we're looking more to 2021 with both those guys. And Danny will not play for us again probably this year. Willie will, though. I think Willie, he actually may be ready at some point in the next homestand. I don't know if he'll be able to play the outfield or not, but he's already hitting now. He just can't run full speed just yet, but he'll be back.
How do you feel about Odor? Does he need to play, or do you need to just say, hey, shut him down, or where do you stand on that?
No, it depends. I think his eyes are okay. I think, I don't know if he'll be ready game 1 when we get back home. He wants to be, but, it's kind of a similar situation where, we got to we want to see some other guys as well. So, he will play. And I just don't know if it's not going to be on the every single day basis.
Chris?
Just, with the shortened season, with the changes that the minor league system is going through, and a lot of these guys who probably wouldn't have played at the major leagues or probably wouldn't have been, playing until around this time in a normal season anyway. Just from your experience of being in the game for as long as you have been, how much do you think this year is going to impact how teams evaluate and handle their younger talent moving forward?
Yeah, it's going to be, I don't know. I mean, to be honest with you, it's going to be different this year. It's going to be really tough. I think next year you're going to see either the downfall or the whatever you want to call it from this year. I think there may be some guys that get some experience this year in the big leagues, or even at the alternate side, which you kind of have your eye on. You're like, hey, maybe they're ready, and they're just not. You're going to realize next year when we get into a longer season that they weren't ready. We may have that as well. We may have some guys that really make an impact here late to next year spring training, and as we get into the season, we realize, okay, they need another year of development. And I don't know. I mean, that's we'll see. We'll see how that works out. I think throughout the league, there's going to be very similar stories to that.
All right, thanks.
Dave?
Yeah, Woody, I was interested to hear your comments on Eli White because I was curious how he's been taking it. And then I'm also curious about the pitching. Kyle goes tonight. We I think had certain expectations for him. It's weird looking back at his numbers. It just hasn't been there. And yet I don't know that he's pitched poorly. Where are you in evaluating how he's done, and what is it that you think he needs to tweak?
He's actually made a bunch of adjustments. I think talking with Julio and talking with him personally, he's constantly, he's a cerebral guy, so he's definitely trying to figure things out. He's trying to understand how to use his stuff and where his stuff. It seems like every time he makes a mistake, kind of to Taylor Hearns last night, it's like he makes one mistake and it's a homer. And unfortunately, that's the state of our team right now, and we have to deal with that. Like, we have to be better, like to not leave balls over the middle of the plate. And it's just in Kyle's case, it just seems magnified because every time he does make a mistake, it seems to end up, where somebody can't catch it. And if he could limit those and continue to execute and understand how to use his stuff, where it is now, where his velo is now, his slider's a really good pitch. He's used his changeup more. He's used the top of the zone more with his fastball, and then he goes back down with the sinker. So, similar to Kobe Allard, like he's had to kind of adjust his game plan and not be so predictable. Because I think Gibby was getting in trouble. He was super predictable at times, especially when he fell behind in counts, and guys were just teeing off on the pitches that they knew were coming. So he's definitely made some adjustments, and hopefully we just get like an outing or two where he actually has, legitimate success where he goes 5 or 6 innings scoreless or 1 run, and then he can kind of build off of that, because it just hasn't happened just yet.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll take one more. Evan, bring Eli in.
Hey, Woody, we talked to Matt Hagan and Jonah today, and Matt talked a little bit about, in talking about quality of at-bats, he talked about Andy Ibanez's at-bats over there. Are you expecting to see him sometime in these next 3 weeks? Is that another infield option for you?
I think so. I don't know for sure if we're going to, but that Andy is somebody that we value as an organization, especially with the bat in his hand. I mean, he gives you a quality at bat every time. He hits the ball hard, stays in the strike zone. He has a ton of adjustability on every pitch. He's one of our few guys down in the minor leagues that we've done a bunch of studying on it. He handles everything, every type of pitch, every type of velo, every type of speed, spin, everything. So, he's an intriguing guy. He's worked really hard on his defense to make himself, able to, be able to play all over the infield. He actually played a lot of, outfield in this alternate site. So I don't know if we do or not, but it is somebody that is definitely on our radar to bring up for sure.
I mean, it just seems like with the lack of offense that you had, somebody who's a standout down there would be more intriguing right now than the fact that, defense may be a little bit on the lower end of the range.
Yeah, for sure. No, I mean, we're looking to upgrade or get guys. And, I think he's, in my opinion, he'll be a big leaguer for a long time. If it's the first team that kind of gives him an opportunity, he'll stay because he can hit. I mean, he's always done that his whole career. And I think he just got to prove to somebody that they just give me a chance and I'll prove it. I think that's what he's waiting on.
And he's played second and first and third in the outfield out there, right? At the alternate side? Okay.
Yep.
Thanks. Sorry to keep you so long.
First of all, what could you figure out what happened with Joelle?
Yeah, it's a left hamstring strain. We'll get more details on how bad it is or how severe it is. It didn't look good, just based on talking to him as he's walking off the field. He could barely walk, could barely, get up. So I don't expect him to honestly be back or to make an evaluation. We'll find out tomorrow more details, though.
For you guys trying to find a bright spot for so many young guys in the lineup, to have Shin-Soo play the way that he did, have the at-bats that he did tonight, can you take that as a big teaching moment? Yeah, absolutely. And it was against a lefty. Obviously, Chu's had issues in the past with lefties, and he showed, he used the whole field against them. Then obviously got the right-hander late and hit a homer. So, I know he's a pretty integral part of what we're trying to do right now because his at-bat quality on a daily basis is really important for our young guys to see. They see how he prepares, they see how he takes BP, what he talks about on the bench before they get up there. And that's what we're trying to obviously instill in our younger players as they go up there. So he's a really valuable piece right now for us. For Tejeda to hit his first one from the right side, a guy who's just been switch hitting for a year now? Yeah. What does that tell you about his potential? I mean, it tells you a lot because, I wasn't expecting that, just put it that way. I had talked to a lot of our PD department about his right-handed swing and how far it's come, but also how far it needs to go. And, for him to go out there and not only get a base hit up the middle and then, he launched that ball to left. It's a good sign. Obviously, we knew he had power from the left side, so we knew it would transition over to the right side if he, worked on the right things. But to hit a homer tonight, obviously to tie the game late, it was a pretty cool moment for him. Jonathan has been as close to perfect as you could be all season. But is this just an instance of you can't have it every single time out, or did you see anything in particular from him? The only thing I say, he's still throwing hard. It's not like there was. I think the only thing we didn't see from, you can only tell from the side. It looked like some of those pitches were decent, but they just didn't have the depth. And I think that the last time he got hit kind of hard was similar. The ball wasn't going down. It was kind of, his sinker was kind of running. It wasn't sinking. And, sometimes, I don't know what causes that. It's a little bit, on his arm slot. But, listen, he's been a warrior for us. He's been our best pitcher, honestly, out of the bullpen. Him and Montero have been amazing for us. So we can't ask him to go out there and throw zeros up every night. And it's just unfortunate that tonight, we obviously, need a win and tie a game, but we're going to put him right back in that spot when we have a chance again. That's it for me. Thanks, Woody.
Okay, we'll take a few from Woody, and then we got Kyle Gibson. Evan?
Hey, Woody, I'm interested in this. You just mentioned that Shu is integral in what you're doing right now, and it sounds to me like you're trying to use him as kind of an example for some of your younger players. You had not been using him against lefties earlier in the year. Is that something that kind of came from y'all's conversation earlier this week?
A little bit. And I think I've liked his bats. I mean, that's the bottom line is just, even though he hasn't had a ton of success, his bat quality's been good. And in my opinion, I want him in there. I know he's obviously all about the organization and moving us forward, but when our younger players get to watch him, compete and, prepare and, handle those at bats, especially, in middle of game when we need base runners, he works the whole field today, a couple base hits to left off the lefty, kind of take what they give him. Those are important for our guys to see because, we're trying to figure out a way to get this offense kind of rolling. And, those are things that kind of get things going. And if our younger guys can see that, they can feed off of that and maybe apply the same kind of techniques and ideas, especially mentality wise, when they step in the batter's box.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
PR?
Tejada's getting a chance to play over some pretty big names. Is that a daunting thing for him, or have you guys talked to him about the fact that he's how do you handle that with him?
No, I think we just, my expectation is just go out, make sure he's prepared. He does all the work. Obviously, he's been working his tail off before games, getting ready to play shortstop, play second base, play third base. He's doing everything we ask. The only thing I ask is just go out and compete. Honestly, as long as he's prepared and he has a game plan to go out and compete. I don't think we need to compare him to anybody, or he's in the beginning stage of his career. So I don't even know if he sometimes knows what planet he's on. I don't think he cares about, who he's taking, who he's playing for or whatever. I just want him to go out and get the experience and compete.
The other thing that's been bothering me for about 4 or 5 innings is I'm looking at this guy's resume, and he was a pretty good hitter for about 4 years in the minor leagues. What was I don't know if you would know this, but what was the impetus for him to go become a switch hitter?
Why would he become a switch hitter?
Yeah, I mean, it looked like he was doing fine as a right-handed hitter, or as left-handed hitter for 4 years.
Yeah, he just kind of struggled against, lefties. So they obviously thought, he started hitting right-handed. He showed that he could actually hit right-handed. So that was kind of the beginning of it. I remember seeing this year, in Dominican, actually, when he was kind of just learning, and it's amazing how far he's come, and to put him in a big league game and to hit a homer, it's pretty cool.
1 or 2 more, Jeff, then Evan.
But how raw is Tejada?
Yeah, he's pretty raw. I mean, it's no more than any other, I guess, guy who's, coming up from A-ball. Probably would have been a Double-A or wherever this year. And, we had kind of a vision of maybe him at some point being here this year. But he's pretty raw. He's learning though, man. One thing is he's eager to learn. He asks a lot of questions. He's fearless on the baseball field, and that kind of leads to, success. He goes up and lets it rip.
But the fact that he is playing now and had the experience with the summer camp, does that make up for not having the minor league season? Does that put him ahead of if he had a minor league season?
I don't think so. I think, if he had a full minor league season, I think that'd be better. Obviously he might still be here if he had a full minor league season, and then on top of this, then he could come up in the big leagues at the end of the September. But I would assume that the at-bats would be better, longer, have more bats to kind of work with than, obviously a 2-month stint. But I know he's been working, he's been getting a ton of reps on the alternate side, and we'll probably play somewhere after this as well, maybe in our, obviously instructional league or something, just to get more bats.
Okay, thanks.
Evan, last one.
Hey, are you are you using an opener tomorrow, or is Jordan going to start?
I'm not sure. We're going to talk about it right now because we had to use some guys that we were considering using. So I don't know if we want to go back to back and put them as an opener.
You used Garcia last time, right?
Yeah, we weren't going to go Garcia this time though. We were actually thinking about Brett Martin, but I'm not sure we're going to do it now because he had to go 1+ today.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Woody. We'll bring in Kyle Gibbs.